You ever get to the top of an epic hike like this and wish there was a zip line or a slide? Or how about a water slide down from the pinnacles? Hold that thought.
We are in the center of the Coromandel Peninsula today on the North Island of New Zealand, in the center of the Coromandel Forest Park, to tackle one of the quintessential hikes of the Coromandel Peninsula, the Pinnacles. These dramatic rock pinnacles that jut out of the landscape provide a 360-degree view of the entire Coromandel Peninsula. You can see both coasts of it. You can do this walk as a day hike, and in and out, and there's kind of a loop you can make, or just go back the same way you came. There's also an 80-bed hut at the top right before the summit of the Pinnacles, so you can do it as an overnighter. And this is actually one of the most popular overnight hikes on the North Island. And there's a section that's kind of like a via ferrata, where there's ladders that you have to climb up. There's 3 options to make this an out and back or a loop. 2 popular ways. We will be taking a much less popular way, the 3rd option, which I will tell you about after we get to the Pinnacles. This is going to be an action-packed day. So we've got 500-meter elevation gain up to the Pinnacles, over around 5 miles, something like that. I think we're taking a slightly longer way back, and so it should end up being a total between 10 and 12 miles. So I'm actually not sure if we're gonna see any of the kauri tree on this hike. They did log extensively for the kauri tree in this area. And in fact, this trail is kind of the remnants of the supply trail that they used to load up their horses for the supplies for the loggers and the miners back in the early 1900s. Kauri tree is a very cool tree. One of the largest trees in the world. The largest one ever recorded was 20 meters wide and 4,000 years old. And it wasn't until very late after the logging and mining in this area that they kind of realized, hey, we need to protect these trees. And so they started preserve areas around Coromandel. And they're now experiencing what they call kauri dieback, which is a fungus that gets brought in. Like if you step on the roots and you have stuff on your feet, on your shoes, it spreads to the trees, and that is killing the kauri trees now as well. And so they'll have these stations where you clean your shoes, which is good in case you go in any waterways here as well, to prevent the spread of didymo or hornwort or any of these other invasives that are invading the waterways. So no kauris yet, but we are seeing a lot of rata, rimu, and kawa trees, and also a bunch of the black tree ferns, and also a ton of nakau palms. Cool thing about nakau palms I just learned is the green berries, before they ripen and turn red, the green berries are edible, and also the flowers of the nakau palm before they open up and bud, like the little buds before they flower, are also edible for humans. So past some of the tallest moss in the world. I mentioned that in one of my other videos, but I just wanted to point it out again. It almost looks like something you'd see on the end of a conifer tree. So the Pinnacles and other similar rock formations in the area are an ancient plug volcano or volcanic plug, where the magma inside the volcano slowly hardened over time and the outer softer rock of the volcano eroded away and left those formations, the Pinnacles. It's most likely a granitic core, I'm pretty sure it's granite, Granite is magma that hardens underground as opposed to basalt, which is another igneous volcanic rock, which is formed from flowing lava, which is expunged outside of the Earth's crust, and that forms basalt. So the granite cools slower because it's cooling underground, whereas the basalt cools quicker because it is exposed to the air. So it is actually a little bit of a softer rock compared to the granite. We're going to be up close and personal with this ancient plug volcano in less than 2 hours, it looks like. Just looking at the pinnacles, most of that 1,500-foot elevation gain is right there at the pinnacles, and I believe they have these almost via ferrata-like iron ladders going up to the top. So that should be pretty awesome. And then I have not even revealed the bonus second half of this adventure, which is gonna be epic. So stay tuned. Not your usual pinnacles video. Are at the top of this ancient plug volcano, the Pinnacles. Beautiful view of the ocean over there, 360 views, epic views of Coromandel here. Now, if you guys remember earlier, I mentioned there's 3 different ways to do this hike or tramp or track. You can do an out and back, you can do an overnight, you can go back the way we came up, or you can make a loop down the Billy Goat track, or behind door number 3, there is a very infamous option, a very adventurous option. Now, the fun begins. Just to be clear, this is not an adventure for anyone. You need to have some gorging, canyoning, river walking experience, ideally technical canyoning. This is not a technical canyon, meaning there's no mandatory rappels or abseils as they call them here, but it is recommended that you have experience in a canyon because it involves checking the water flow at a checkpoint at the early start of the hike on a swing bridge. That's how I know the water flow is good and safe for us. It involves some technical down climbs. They recommend a rope, a 15-meter rope, and that is to assist on the down climb. So you're not rappelling, but you may need that rope for a hand line down if you can't jump or slide, or if you want to depth check a pool before you jump or slide. It's recommended to have that rope. You might be wondering, who's recommending this? I will tell you at the end of the video how I found out about this adventure and how you can get information about this adventure if you have experience and you would like to tack this onto a trip to the Pinnacles as well. So there's 3 narrow sections on this river, and that's really where the action-packed fun is. I think the other sections are kind of like this, just real easy. So a whole dam here. You can see these gigantic logs. These are the kauri trees that they made this out of. sort of process for the logging to float the logs downstream. I think we're almost to the first narrow section because it looks like it's getting pretty narrow. Oh yeah. Beautiful narrows. Wow. We're gonna slide it, but there's a shelf. Whoa! Is that a slide? Oh my God! Holy cow! I really hope it's deep enough. Wow! I think we're at the start of the last narrows. Get a little windy, looks pretty narrow too. I think that was the end of the last narrows. Nice little optional jump here and some boulder hopping, and then call it a day. Well, that was an epic day out here at the Pinnacles. Nearly a 10-hour day. Took us 4 hours to go down the river, and then I think it was like a half hour to an hour back to the car from there. So this adventure is detailed in the Canyoning New Zealand guidebook by Dan Clearwater. Mostly this features technical canyons where you need gear and knowledge and know how to rappel and rig and check water flows and everything like that. But there are some very detailed adventures in here that are not technical, like this, and even like this one, you don't necessarily need to rappel. There's some just gorging adventures where you can tube down some rivers and stuff like that. But I highly recommend, if you come to New Zealand, even if you're not looking to do technical canyoneering, pick up this guidebook. It gives you a lot of great information to getting off the beaten path and points you in the direction of finding some great hidden gems. If you have no experience and you want to do something like we did yesterday in the Pinnacles actually and kick it up a notch, Canyoning NZ or Canyoning NZ does a technical guided canyon here called Sleeping God Canyon right near the Pinnacles. And it's actually even more epic. There's some steep natural water slides, and you have the safety of the guides providing the gear and the knowledge and rigging for you. So definitely check that out if you have no experience and you want to try something awesome. I will never forget this day. If you're in the area, you have experience, definitely loop it into the Pinnacles. It was an absolutely epic adventure. I am so beat. It's the next morning and I'm still tired. Plenty more coming from New Zealand and plenty more coming from Coromandel. In the meantime, get out there, find your adventure, and be infamous.
Infamous.